GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered. And that's MVS and Justin Watson with some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues. If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up. Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow, comma, semicolon, period, next sentence, to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Is that
yes? Let's go! So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
and Jay
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude,
he? How good is he? JRich. There's no GMGP this morning. There's no GMGP this morning, JRich. I see the people, Jimbo, James Young, Zach, Jeff, AJ, all of y'all talking trash early this fine Monday morning, the over-under of when we're going to start the damn show. JRich, what's going on in the chat? Are the people taking bets on the timeliness of this fine establishment that is Wake Up with Ray and Jay? Is that what was going on this morning, Jay? There's no GMGP for them damn people. Jimbo, TDE, I don't know what's going on this morning. I'm feeling good. I'm excited for the show. I'm excited to talk to you. And the people in here are betting on our downfall, JRich, hitting the over on us. What is going on, Jay? What the hell, JRich? Get in here now. What is going on, Jay?
So I had to go back and read the comments because we only see from the time we go live. And of course, in traditional fashion, we're a couple minutes late. We're just figuring things out, making sure that we have a great show for the people today on a Monday. And Jimbo sets the over-under at 9:04 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we go live at 9:03. So it was very close. Great line by Jimbo, but unfortunately, the under hit, and he lost today.
Get the hell out of here, Jimbo. GMGP, it is Monday, June 16th. 2025. We appreciate y'all waking up with myself and my brother from another mother. Y'all know who it is, Jordan Richards. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Make sure you sub to the podcast feed. Make sure you check out all the dope content on this channel. And Jay, last night, Destination Chill, for those of y'all that are members to the DDFFB channel, got to hear Scott Connor and I talk through, mainly it was just Trinity. We talked through some of the new updates to the Trust the Trinity tool on DDFantasyFootball.com. Historical ranges of outcomes, went through different players, all kinds of stuff. You know how Scott Connor's brain works. We were diving deep. JRich, we gave the people a 90-minute show. Supposed to be 60 minutes. We were on for an hour and a half for the members last night. So appreciate everybody who is a member on the channel. Thank y'all for getting that early access and enjoy the content. But Jay, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I know you are excited to talk, or maybe you're not excited to talk about some of the things in the world of sports. But before we get into that, how was your weekend and how are you, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It was a good weekend, super chill. I enjoyed it. Watched some great baseball and got some unfortunate news. But a lot happened in the sports world. Nothing in the NFL, it seems. The NFL, another quiet week after minicamp rolled around. We talked about all of that. Yeah. I saw your wife airing it out in the chat. I love it. Nobody's safe around here. Not me, not you, nobody. So nobody. Everyone held accountable, and that's what I appreciate. But yeah, good weekend overall. How was your weekend? You were at the Rangers game yesterday, right?
Yeah, Rangers game yesterday. A lot of baseball weekend, JRich. It's always hit the music. It's always damn baseball. That's all we do. Your weekends are non-existent with two boys in baseball. But had a good weekend. Was at the Ranger game yesterday. And there was some baseball news that broke in your world, Jay, and we are going to talk about that. But before we get into it, we got to give the people a little blast from the past. The people have been clamoring for this segment, the world of sports with Jordan Richards. So we are going to get right into it on this Monday. Straight facts with old JRich.
The biggest news in the world of sports. Covered and brought to you by one man, Jordan Richards. This is Straight Facts.
You know, Ray, as I mentioned, there was a lot that went on in the world of sports. Do you want to start with the baseball trade that
let's do it.
rocked the world? Because
let's do it.
It did involve my Boston Red Sox, and they traded away Rafael Devers for Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, bunch of people that probably most baseball fans even have never heard of. And it stems the question as to why did they do it, right? So they asked him to play DH this season because they signed Alex Bregman. Okay, fine. He wasn't very happy about that. Then Alex Bregman gets hurt, and Tristan Casas gets hurt. He gets asked to play third base again. He says no. He gets asked to play first base. He says no. But at the end of the day, he's still their best player. He's their most marketable player. And I won't go too far on this, but I think it stems back to the Mookie Betts trade. And when they traded away Mookie Betts, they got nothing for him. It was Alex Verdugo and some prospects. Then they signed Rafael Devers, a player who historically was terrible at third base, but wanted to play third base anyways because he wanted to be paid as a third baseman. The Red Sox didn't want to pay him as a third baseman because he's not good at third base. Statistically, he's one of the worst third basemen defensively in all of Major League Baseball, but he also has one of the best bats in baseball. So they signed him to a massive contract because part of the reason why they signed him was because they traded away Mookie Betts, Hall of Famer, one of the best players they've ever had. So they had to appease the fans by retaining their star in Rafael Devers. And now you have a situation, Ray, where they trade Devers after beating the Yankees in 5 of 6 over the span of 10 days, sweeping them over the weekend, and they just called up their number one prospect in baseball in Roman Anthony, who has been struggling a little bit. So they have a very young team, young core, and a great player in Rafael Devers who heated up all throughout May to now trade him away for virtually nothing. And for people who aren't Red Sox fans, like, we all know why they're doing this. They're trying to cut costs. We don't know why they're trying to cut costs, but they're not trying to pay up for an expensive team that can compete and win right now. Why they won't? I have my own theories about this because, Ray, you may not know this, but they also own Liverpool. Liverpool had the best season in the Premier League this year. They won the Premier League, and they just signed a player for 150 million euros. And so it's like, this is the same company that can go out and pay 150 million euros for Florian Wirtz, who is a good player. Like, don't get me wrong about it, but it's a record transfer in the Premier League at 116 million pounds. And now you trade away the best player on the Boston Red Sox. It's like, at some point, is Fenway Sports Group going to just rebrand themselves to something else? It just makes no sense to me. But I don't know
what's this comparable to? Like, is this
Luka
Luka Doncic to the Lakers? Is it?
It's even worse than that. Like, that's the sad part, is that it's not like with Luka, they didn't want to pay him, right? We all kind of knew that. Yeah. They didn't want to pay him, and obviously we found out why at the end of it. But you still got Anthony Davis. This is a literal salary dump. He's owed $250 million on this contract for like the next 8 years. He's already signed, so the Giants have him for the next whatever, I think it's 8-9 years that they have him for $250 million. It's just, you didn't get anything back for him. It's a literal salary dump to say, we just don't want to pay this contract. And you're hoping Jordan Hicks can be a starter probably because he still wants to be a starter even though he wasn't very good last time. Kyle Harrison was a top 30 prospect last season. Now he's not even in the top 100. And they even sent him down to AAA. Like, you're just hoping this young core can be good, but you just have no solidity now. There was always someone in Rafael Devers who could lift the team, right? That could be that guy that even while these young guys are struggling can help move the team along and keep them at least competitive. Now you have a situation where the team is so young, they still probably lead the league in errors because they make errors consistently all across the diamond. And you have a manager in Cora who has an even younger team than he had last year. So it just blows my mind that you can have a situation where one ownership group owns two teams and one team is paying out the ass for tons of players and signing all of their star players, bringing them all back, paying out a ton of money. And Liverpool obviously makes a lot of money as well, but if Boston is going to be a premier franchise in baseball, they're going to have to pay players at some point. And it just seems like they're not interested in doing that. And it doesn't seem like that's going to change anytime soon.
All right. There's some more baseball news, JRich, because a megastar is taking the mound tonight. So talk about Shohei Otani. JRich, are you excited for this return?
Yeah, man, I'm very excited. There was people who thought he couldn't start at all this season and wouldn't start. I believe Dave Robertson, spring training, said there's no timeline for return and there's no necessarily hope that he's going to start. So I didn't even expect him before the All-Star break. So to have him now pitching, the question really is just like, how much are they going to let him pitch? Is he really going to be even an 80 pitch guy out the gate to where
Probably
they're
not.
fine.
Probably not.
I feel like they're going to work him along, right? And especially the Dodgers. I mean, dude, the start from Clayton Kershaw the other day. Holy smokes. Boy, vintage Kershaw. I know you know Kershaw, a big fan, right? So that was crazy. But yeah, to get Shohei back with all the injuries they have, it's just ridiculous. But I'm pretty excited to see him again. We don't know how long he's going to go. Probably won't go very long. Maybe, 3-4 innings, 50, 60 pitches, hopefully. Dodgers
just to see him back on the mound is going to be good, though. Just to see him back on the mound.
Yeah, he's the MVP right now and probably going to win it again this year.
Well, let's go to another sport, the association. JRich, what we got tonight?
We got Game 5, Ray. Game 5 of the Thunder and Pacers. SGA did his best to choke it in the third quarter in Game 4, but he came out firing in Game 4 at the end of Game 4 in the fourth quarter. And Ray, the question to you now is, do you think that the Thunder have a grasp on this series in the way that they should win it at this point?
No.
They have at least one
no,
game at home.
I was told.
You don't think so,
no,
eh?
I was told the Thunder were going to sweep the Pacers. The Pacers didn't stand a chance. This has been a really good series. I know a lot of people were like, man, it's the Indiana Pacers, the two small market cities. This has been an incredible basketball series because you're kind of glued to it until the end because it never feels like either team is completely out of it. I mean, Indiana, they kind of let the game slip away from them in Game 4. I don't think it's over by any stretch, but the winner of Game 5, I think, historically goes on to win these series more often
especially if it's the
not.
Thunder, right? Because
we
more often got another home game, so we'll see.
Yeah, this
but
is just
exciting, man. I'm pumped for it.
We were talking about a pre-show, and you said I'm excited for the game tonight, and you don't rarely say that about NBA, right? You don't, unless you're getting the premier stars going head to head. You don't normally say that, but you said you are excited for this one tonight, man. So am I.
Yeah, no, it's been a very tight series. It's been a little back and forth. I'm pretty excited for it though. It's been very good, surprisingly. Not necessarily because the Pacers are good.
He said I've enjoyed
this series. It's been a good series. Yeah, especially compared to other ones. Like we've seen a lot of blowouts in series. It's like we had Denver and OKC was very close. Boston and the Knicks wasn't very close. Even Indiana versus the Knicks didn't feel that close because of the way that Indiana played. This is the first time both these teams have really been challenged, and it's been very exciting to watch on both sides.
Yeah, I agree. It's not, I don't think you're going to go back and be like, this is one of the best series of all time, but it's been good. It's been a
very
really
entertaining, though.
Entertaining.
Drama-filled, right? Like last-second shots. There's no blowouts at all. Like, it's been very good, very tight.
What a segue. You say drama-filled, JRich? Old drama-filled? Let's hit the next news topic here. Just ironically, it just so happens the sports universe lines up this way, but we had some record-breaking WNBA news that happened over the weekend. What do we have?
Well, I will just read the prompter as
they say. Read what's on the prompter.
Angel Reese, the second youngest player in WNBA history to record a triple-double, second only to, you guessed it, Caitlin Clark, who dropped 32 with 3 straight logo threes in her return to action from injury. And Ray, this is funny because obviously you put this story in here because I didn't watch, but why do I care that Angel Reese was the second youngest player to record a triple-double in WNBA history?
Only
because are we giving out silver medals on this show?
Only because it's second to this woman, Caitlin Clark, who is I'm just telling you, dude, if you did not watch her score 9 points in 38 seconds, I highly encourage everybody to just pull up the clip from Saturday where she scored 9 points on 3 logo threes in 38. JRich, I'm not shitting you, man. I'm watching, dude. And I keep going back to something that you said 3 years ago. And everybody thought you were crazy as hell when you said it. But you said you believe Steph Curry should be on the Mount Rushmore of NBA players for how he's revolutionized the game of basketball. Like nobody was doing the things that Steph Curry did prior to him doing it. You're literally seeing that impact from Caitlin Clark. I mean, if you have not seen, Jay, she's running down court. It's not off a screen. She just runs down there, logo 3, swish. Get the ball back, do it again. Get the ball, 30-second time span, 3. It's freaking incredible how good she is. It really is. And her team loses all the damn time, and she's that good. She's very good, man. She is worth you sitting down and watching, and it's not just, she had like 8 rebounds, 9 assists, damn near triple-double on 32 points. She's just incredible, dude.
Yeah, no, she's the reason why people watch the WNBA. And Angel Reese doesn't want to hear that. And I'm sure other people don't want to hear that either.
I mean, people said it, man. It's
she's that
just
exciting, right?
Say what you want about the shit that she's doing. None of us that's watching this stream can do it on a pickup court. You go to your local 24-hour fitness, you ain't doing it. And she's doing it in game. It's Steph Curry-esque impact. No doubt about it, man. No doubt. 100%. DJ Take a Sip said it was unreal. Like 38 seconds, not 3 3-pointers. Incredible, Jay. What else we got?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a big story, apparently.
Big story.
The Saints signed Cam Akers to a
Your
one-year
Saints.
deal.
Your
my
Saints.
Yeah, my Saints signed Cam Akers to a one-year deal. Right? What do you think this means for the depth in that backfield there? You worried about your boy, Kendre Miller, TCU's finest? You worried about Devin Neal? You worried about, who else they got there?
Clyde.
I forget the other guy.
CEH.
Oh, yeah,
CEH.
Clyde probably still there. Marcus Yarns.
CEH.
I like Marcus Yarns. He's probably getting cut.
I mean, someone's getting cut. So I mean,
or
it might be Akers. It
might be Akers.
I mean, number 38 aesthetically is just not the number that I want my RB wearing.
Feels like a fullback number.
Yeah, but I mean, good for Akers for finding work. I definitely think somebody is not going to make that roster, whether it's Akers, Kendre, Clyde, Yarns.
Yep.
I mean, it feels like Neal is going to make it as a rookie, but Akers was signed to the New Orleans Saints. Does this matter at all, Jay?
I wouldn't say so, no. I wouldn't say that Cam Akers really changes a whole lot. I think it's interesting because the one thing I do like about Cam Akers, he's kind of a do-it-all running back when healthy, right? We've always kind of known that from the time he stepped on the field at Florida State to the time he got drafted in the second round. Like, the Saints have had a problem with their running backs kind of being different skill sets, I'd say, in some ways, and they're trying to find guys that can do a bit of everything, and that's why we liked them bringing in Devin Neal, because they're not just having, a bruiser and a pass catcher. They're bringing in guys that kind of fill all different roles, and so it'd be interesting to see kind of what they do with Akers if he does make the team, because I think he could make an impact for this team overall, depending on what they decide to do, whether they want to stay younger.
You're talking too long. You said he didn't matter, and then you rambled for 3 minutes on how he could make an impact.
I think it's interesting a player like Akers joining the team. And Ray, the last story that we do have to talk about, because I'm sure you didn't see the putt at the U.S. Open, and everyone's talking about it in the chat, like one of the best putts you'll ever see to win a major. And J.J. Spawn holding on.
I didn't know we had. I didn't know we had the golf. I didn't know we had the. I'm a golfer, Jay. I didn't know we had the golf
family. Did you get your clubs yet?
Pardon?
Did you get clubs yet?
I've got 2 clubs. I'm learning.
Okay.
I'm a quick study, JRich. I'm a quick study. I'm a quick study.
But yeah,
I didn't know the chat wanted this, but talk about it. Jay. Talk about the putt.
The putt was ridiculous. It was, he had to push it way to the left. It came all the way back around, and the crowd erupted. And it's just like, man, what he had to do to hold on in that major was ridiculous. The U.S. Open historically still one of the hardest majors to win. The conditions were brutal. Stars were falling left and right. And Spawn, who was so close, I believe it was what was the major that he came? It might have been the player. It was either the Players or the Masters. He one of the other majors. He came in second behind Scotty. Ridiculous. So to win this one was really, really cool because Sam Burns was on his ass and did play very good as well. But Spawn held on. He got it done and won the tournament. So credit to him, man. And even some of his post-game, like his post-presser stuff, he was talking about how last year he thought about retiring, like legit retiring from golf altogether. So to come back now and play really, really well this year and to win a major, I mean, it's something that I'm sure he never imagined, but he's so talented, so good. It was a great
really cool moment, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say I was watching the Open, but you do see, you see the clips, right? You're watching sports, you're watching your social media feed, and you saw that, and you're like, damn, man, like.
Unbelievable to win it.
Yeah, to win. Like walk-off, right?
Yep, that's it. Insane.
Walk-off home run or walk-off putt to win. Like that type of what's the okay, hold on.
Best play in
Let
sports.
Me just ask you.
It's not even close.
What's the best game-winning situation? You've got I don't think a game-winning touchdown pass. It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't.
It doesn't really. It doesn't hit the way you think it does.
Doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Right. It doesn't fit. The game-winning touchdown. It's a 1-yard QB sneak. Probably doesn't fit.
No.
Buzzer-beating shot feels good. The buzzer-beating shot in basketball.
It's big.
It's big. Buzzer beater is big.
Here's what I'll tell you, Ray, and this is I think the God's honest truth. Even in the NBA Finals, and this is maybe a bit of a hot take, even in the NBA Finals, a game winner is probably not as exciting as Aaron Judge's 9th inning home run on Saturday. Because that home run was insane for anyone who didn't see it. Like, 9th inning, full count, 1-0 against Garrett Crochet. He threw it, I think it was 102 the pitch before. That pitch might have been 102. Inside, he turned on it, and he hit it out of Fenway Park to tie the game. And, like, it was insane.
There's debate in the chat.
The walk-off home run is by far the best play.
A lot of people are saying walk-off home run. I'm going to give you, what about the shootout in soccer or NHL? Shootouts at the end.
Shootouts are brutal.
You don't like shootouts? Okay, shootouts are not.
Soccer should not. They should have shootouts because I don't really know how else they do it. But yeah, hockey, thankfully in the playoffs is you got to score. Like
walk-off home run's pretty dope. Like a walk.
It's because it's so difficult, right?
Yeah,
like
a walk-off home run.
Hit a walk-off home run it's way harder than just hitting a shot in basketball, right? Or scoring.
Well, you get a lot. I feel like you get a lot of buzzer beaters in the NBA. Like you get more than a few every season, right? There are quite a few buzzer beaters in the NBA. I don't know. Walk-off home run just seems incredibly dope. You flip the bat and trot the bases. That is always number one Sports Center top 10, right? Even though a lot of people in the chat are saying buzzer beater. A lot of people saying buzzer beater.
Buzzer beaters.
Shout out Dynasty Daddy in the chat. Good morning from Lake Como. Well, Jeremy taking some time off. He's supposed to be operating the daddy machine, and he's out there chilling by the lake. Shout out to Dynasty Daddy, man. Dynasty Daddy doing it big for us in Dynasty Fantasy Football. Jay, let me go. There were a couple of comments in here that I want to go to. Photo finish in NASCAR. There's another one. Photo finish in NASCAR.
Photo finishes are sick. They're cool.
I'm not a big NASCAR guy, so I don't know how people.
Well, it's the drama, right? Because you got to wait for that moment, like where you don't know who won, right? And so that is really cool, though. That is really cool.
And then Kirk knows the way to my heart. A walk-off checkmate in chess. I mean, listen, I was in the chess club. Fifth grade, I was in chess club. Incredible chess player. You know, I just had to pick. I had to pick my sport, Jay. I had to pick.
Oh, did you?
I had to pick, and unfortunately, that became the hobby. That became the hobby. So, we've got some news, some NFL stuff happening, some interesting things I want to talk about, some articles that I read that I want to pitch you a couple of different would you rathers. Here, we're going to talk about veteran quarterbacks having the biggest impact on their team. I've got a fun little topic post-break about Tom Brady that I want you to answer, JRich. And then we got some wide receivers that we got to talk about. Some wide receiver groups. Wide receiver said that his play last year was trash and he's got to be better. Your thoughts on if he can be better. But we will do that after the break. Good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome in, everybody, for another stream over here on Bleacher Report, NFL Daily. You can find JRich and I every single week here on this app.
The moment I say it, they'll say, oh, yuck. And it's got to be Najee Harris, right? It's
That world is in an alternate timeline somewhere in the multiverse. It ain't here on Earth 616 or whatever. It ain't here. JRich and I are on every single Thursday, 7 p.m. Appreciate y'all being on the stream. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every Monday, Wednesday, Friday here on the channel. If you can't catch us live, subscribe to Wake Up with Ray and Jay podcast feed. You can catch us anywhere after the fact. Jay gets the show up early, fun. Make sure you pull up, hit the thumbs up button, like the stream. I'm listening or reading some of the comments, and people are saying that the walk down in track and field. So 4x1, 4x4 relays, they're the end of the event. Getting chased down is pretty fun. I don't know if you're a big track and field guy. You know, I ran track in high school, and I'm just all around athlete over here, JRich. I know it's hard for you to believe these things sometimes, but the 4x1 rundown or the 4x4 rundown is pretty good. But I still think the walk-off home run is it. And I know people are. Hey, I watched Magnus Carlsen lose. He was pissed off when he lost in chess last week. He was mad walking out of that arena. So people think I'm BSing, man, but I'm just a messenger, right, JRich? I'm just a messenger. That's all I do. All right. I was reading NFL.com. There's an article that dropped about players and statutes and Hall of Fame candidacy in the NFL. And one of the things that I thought I wanted to bring up with you and get your thoughts on this, because you love Mount Rushmores, you love talking about the GOATs, who's the best. It said which players who are not currently in the Hall of Fame are going to earn or deserve a statute when they're done, JRich. And one of the things was, should this player receive 2 statutes? And we're talking about the GOAT himself, the greatest quarterback, and some say one of the greatest players in NFL history, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. Is that his name? Patrick Edward Brady? Tom Brady, TB12. Jay, we know for damn sure he's getting a statue built in New England. There's no doubt about it. He'll have a statue. He'll have his own street. He'll have all that stuff in New England. But is Tom Brady, in your opinion, deserving of a statue in Tampa Bay as well? He brought this team their second only championship in his first year after coming over from New England. 5,000 yards, I think, back-to-back seasons. He played 3 years in Tampa Bay. And the big case for it was he really set this team on the direction and path that they're in now. Like, they hadn't done a lot of winning prior to him getting there in a while. He comes there, wins a Super Bowl, gets them on track. Peyton Manning has 2 statutes. Apparently, he's got one in Indy. He's got one in Indy, and he has one in Denver. Peyton Manning has 2 statutes for his teams. Yes, he does. Should Tom Brady be included in that pantheon to get two statutes? Does he deserve one for Tampa Bay?
I think it's interesting because in football and other sports, I think they're treated a little bit differently. And with Tom Brady, obviously what he did in Tampa Bay was remarkable. And so, Ray, I'm going to give you kind of a comparison because this is one that I think the answer is infinitely no. And it's, would you give Kawhi a statue in Toronto? He brought the Raptors a championship. He was their best player. He was there for 1 year. He brought them their first championship, and he left. Right?
I don't know. I don't know if that's a fair...
I think the answer is no, right? But
okay. But Kawhi's not one of the best players in NBA history, is he?
I mean, when healthy, he's definitely a very good player.
I didn't say he wasn't very good. I didn't say he wasn't very good. I didn't say he wasn't great.
I mean, if he's healthy, he's a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's a Hall of Fame player. But we're talking about Tom Brady's at the top 1 percentile.
But why does that matter? Because then you're giving Brady the accolades that he earned in New England and attributing them to what he did in Tampa Bay. He's an all-time great player, but you're not giving Michael Jordan a Wizards statue. And now, again, they're different things. But so
because he didn't win in Washington. He didn't win.
But do you think that one victory is worthy of a statue? Because I don't know. I'm not familiar with Tampa Bay's history. I can't imagine there's too many statues there. Mike Evans deserves a statue in Tampa Bay. But Tom Brady... No. Probably doesn't deserve a statue. Like, would you say that Tom Brady's more deserving than Mike Evans? Because I think Mike Evans is more deserving than Tom Brady personally. Like, he's a lifelong Buck. He has a ton of records there. He's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame one day. He may, at some point, deserve a statue, or at least what the impact he made on that organization over the duration of time, like, is worthy. But Tom Brady was there for 2 seasons. One was a great season. It was phenomenal.
D-Bro's in the chat.
Different.
D-Bro's in the chat. He said, not enough tenure for TB in TB. Not enough tenure.
That's
He's there for 3 years. How much tenure did Peyton Manning have in Denver?
But he won a Super Bowl there.
And, well, he was drugged to a Super Bowl. I don't think Tom Brady went out there and got that for Tampa Bay. I mean, to come in off the rip, brand new team.
They destroyed the Chiefs defensively as well. So it wasn't like their defense was bad, but the offensively they did their job.
All I'm saying is Brady wasn't like an ancillary piece there. If not for, and I'm not saying Brady, if not for Brady, they wouldn't have won. But Tom Brady, he drove that car. I mean, he was incredible his first season in Tampa Bay. I don't know, man.
I mean, you look at Manning, the last season was really his only bad season. He had 3 prior seasons that were all very good, and obviously he's getting a statue in Indy because he's like the best quarterback they've ever had, right? They didn't win, but he won in Denver, and he was there for 4 seasons. But he threw for 4,600 yards in 3 of 4 seasons. It was just the last season that he really, really fell off, unfortunately for Manning. But I think it makes a little bit more sense than Brady having a statue in Tampa.
All right, let's stick with the quarterback position. Veteran quarterbacks, JRich. We got a lot of movement, and we've kind of talked about all these QBs individually, ISO'd, how it's going to affect their quarterback room, their wide receiver room, the team, the offense. But really, my question to you and to the people is like true veteran impact. And think about everything, not just who's going to score the most fantasy points,
Winning,
but
yeah.
of these veteran quarterback additions. And I wanted to do this outside of Aaron Rodgers. I thought Aaron Rodgers would be the number one choice here. We're going to prioritize these veteran quarterbacks. But who's going to have the biggest impact on their team, JRich? And you can take that a multitude of directions. I'm not gonna guide you on how you want to answer this, but I do want you to try to rank these quarterbacks. So we do have Aaron Rodgers, who is currently the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hate his helmet, dude.
The helmet is hilarious.
I've never liked his helmet. Aesthetically, it just does not do it for me. But Aaron Rodgers in his new situation in Pittsburgh, JRich. We also have Daniel Jones, who, based on the comments that Shane's, I'm reading what's being typed out of Indianapolis, and every article that pops up, the Anthony Richardson hope, it just fleets. It just gets dimmer and dimmer, and it's black. There's nothing there. There's no light at the end of this tunnel. Daniel Jones is probably going to be the team's starting quarterback going into the 25 season. We got Russell Wilson for the New York Giants. Russell Wilson starting quarterback.
With the Rangers photo, right?
Of the Giants. Russell Wilson's impact in New York. What's that going to look like, Jay? We've got Justin Fields in New York, and then we've got Sam Darnold of the Seattle Seahawks, and the player that I did not want to have on here because I feel like everybody would name this quarterback is Geno Smith of the Las Vegas Raiders. So we've got Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, and Justin Fields. Rank them. Impact on their team this season.
So number one is going to be Geno Smith. He's probably playing for the best team. Love the coaching staff.
Best team.
Great quarterback.
We're already there with the Raiders. We're already saying the Raiders are a better team than the Jets, the Colts, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They could be the best team.
I'm just asking the question.
I think it would be very close.
I've never heard you talk about the Raiders one time being a good team on this show, and now they're the best team.
I think they could be the best team of this group, right? It comes down to, for me, is like, what do you get from Sam Darnold? What do you get from Fields? And we kind of expect the Jets to be terrible. What does Russell Wilson do? And is he even the one to right the ship for the Giants? Because the answer might be no to that. Daniel Jones in Indy, he might be fine, but he's not going to have a big impact for this team. It's going to be Geno Smith, and the team's going to be as good as Geno Smith is, and depending on how good the defense is. Now, the problem for me is, where do I put Aaron Rodgers? Because
where
Aaron
would
Rodgers
you put
is a good quarterback?
Okay. So we got Geno 1. I agree with you. Geno Smith.
If we're talking impact, though, Ray, why can't Justin Fields have a really good, like, based off where they were? They had Rodgers last year. Like, so here's the question that I have for you. Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields switched places. Who do you think is more important to the team having switched places? Because if they had Justin Fields right now, Justin Fields right now, you probably wouldn't feel that much differently than if they had Aaron Rodgers. But
I feel better with Aaron Rodgers.
That much better?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not the biggest Fields fan, but I think that there's a world where Fields has a pretty big impact on this team and the success that they're going to have that Rodgers didn't have. Right? He tried to do it his way and make it his own thing. Now it's going to be a team-first approach for the Jets, and Fields is going to be a big part of what they're going to do. So if we're talking about impact, like, Fields was good on Pittsburgh last year. They won games. But I don't know if Rodgers needs to be number one on this list, because we're just assuming we're going to get this best version of Aaron Rodgers, and we don't know that's going to be true.
Well, you're assuming that with Fields. Those are the veteran quarterbacks that have moved.
But the thing is that Fields was actually good when he played and won games on Pittsburgh, and we expect Rodgers to do the same thing. So how is this how much of an impact is Rodgers really making? His job is to do what they've done and to win 10, maybe 11 games, because they're not going to win more games than that.
Geno number 1. Then you would put Fields at 2 of having the biggest impact of all these veteran quarterbacks. Fields' impact in New York is bigger than Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
Relative to where they were and where they're projected
to go. There's no relative to where they... No.
You're talking about biggest impact on the team.
Right. But
you
leave
already
where they
had
were.
A competent quarterback. So how are you making it right? If you have a job and you get fired and I take your job and I do the same thing, I'm not making a big impact on the company.
If you're better than I was, you are.
No, if I'm better, but if I do the same thing and you get the same result at the end of the day from a company,
but they're not the same player, man. Rodgers and Fields aren't the same player, you know?
I understand that, but the result for the Steelers probably won't be any different because they're probably going to win the same amount of games.
Okay, well then let's do this. Do this same thing with Seattle then. With Darnold, with Geno, do the same thing with Seattle then.
So Seattle's tough because I think the defense is going to be a lot better. And it was good last year in stretches, but I think it's going to be a lot better. The question really is, can Darnold do what Geno did? Because if he can, he has a massive impact on this team, in my opinion, only because they got rid of Geno because they didn't want to pay him. And they had to bring in someone else to fill that gap. So he has to be able to do what Geno did to be worthy of this contract, right? And so that's why I think it's a little bit different in terms of impact. If Rodgers were going to go out and win more games than Fields and Wilson did last year, then I'd see a world where he could be there. But for me,
I'm just asking, man. I'm just asking because I'm looking at this list, right? Moggs, shout out to my dog Moggs. Geno, like you said, Rodgers 2, Daniel Jones 3, Fields 4, Darnold 5. Why can't Darnold improve from the confidence that he gained last season? I'm just asking. I know we don't like him. No one likes him. He was the second overall pick back in the day. Didn't work out. So it's Sam Darnold, right? The ghost of that shit sticks with him, and it's going to stick with him for a long time. Why can't he build upon what he did last year when he was really freaking good last year? And I get he's got Jefferson and Addison and all that stuff, but why can't he continue to build upon that in Seattle? He's got a strong running game with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. He's got pass catchers with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp. I like Noah Fant. They draft Elijah Arroyo. I know he's not a fantasy name, but you've got a field stretcher in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Why can't he come in and just distribute the ball and be productive in Seattle? Why are people just like, nope, he sucks. He's not going to complete a pass all year. It was all a fluke. It was all just magic last year, and it will never happen again.
Well, I think part of the problem, and one of the reasons I really don't like him, is like, Ray, look what happened in the playoffs, right? And it's not to say not to say that that's everything, but he's got to play that team twice a year now, right? And they know how to beat him, right? The Rams know how to beat Sam Darnold, and they're probably going to have no problem getting after him this season behind that offensive line. And especially when you talk about not just him, but Sam Fran, who we expect to be much better on the defensive line this year. And then compound that with the fact that the offensive line is bad, and he's not playing with Kevin O'Connell, who clearly did a phenomenal job hiding all of Darnold's weaknesses. Because even in Carolina, we saw Darnold have some bright spots where he looked good for stretches, and then ultimately he faded and didn't play well. And it was the same thing to some extent in Minnesota. It just took a real long time to get there. But once we got there, did Sam Darnold crash and burn. So when you talk about Darnold, it's not necessarily that I think he's a bad quarterback, but the situation for him is very, very bad. Geno wanted out because they didn't improve the offensive line and weren't going to, and they wanted to go another direction. So now you have a situation where Sam Darnold playing behind a bad offensive line, he may be fine as a quarterback, but his impact is going to be negated by the fact that they didn't improve that offensive line enough. And I personally do not like Clint Kubiak. I don't think he's a good OC. I don't think the offseason moves they made, getting rid of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, is doing Darnold any favors. And we have to see what they ultimately become. But I think they're going to be more of a run-first team, defense-driven, like Mike McDonald probably wants. And so for me, Darnold has to be last. So I would have Geno Smith.
The funny thing about this, and I know a lot of people have very short memories. Very short. They can only see what was immediately in the rearview mirror. But at one point in time, Geno Smith was just Geno Smith, the failed second-round pick in New York that couldn't get it together until he got an opportunity by the Seattle Seahawks and continued to build upon his opportunity. But it was not that long ago.
But it's not the same coaching staff, though.
But I'm just saying that's not football, right? I'm not going to accept the answer, because it's just this player. That's lazy. If you're going to say the player's not going to succeed or they are, because when we want to pump up a player, you bring all this shit to the table here's what he did, blah, 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 blah. But then when you don't like, it's just that. It's because it's just Sam Darnold. Oh, it's just Darnold. So, that's lazy. Give me something here.
But it's
because at one point, Geno Smith was just Geno Smith, and nobody wanted him.
Okay, but going into that same season, no one was like, oh, Geno Smith's going to be great in Seattle. They probably said, oh, he's just Geno Smith. So it's not like we're inconsistent in the way that we're evaluating the players at the stages they're at.
We're absolutely fucking inconsistent. Absolutely.
I mean, it's the offensive line. That's going to be the problem. It was the problem last year. It was the reason why Geno wanted out, and I don't think it's going to do Sam Darnold any favors, on top of the fact that it is a new coaching staff, a new offensive group, a new offensive mind at the helm. Like, I think there's a lot of things that could go wrong for this team this year, and it doesn't help that they're playing the Niners, they're playing Arizona, who bolster their defensive line, and they're playing the Rams. All of those are going to be difficult. The schedule is easy for Seattle. I believe they're still like top 10 in the NFL in terms of schedule, but it's still not going to be easy because of the teams they have to get through in order to get there. So again, it's not that I dislike Darnold, but there's better situations.
I'm not saying that. I'm not pumping it up. I'm not pumping it up like we like him. I'm just making the case that this team let Geno walk, brought in Darnold. He's the guy this year. What impact can he make? And we've talked about Darnold. We talked about Rodgers. We talked about Fields. We talked about Geno. I really want to talk about Russ Wilson.
Okay.
I really do, because it can't get much worse than what the Giants had at quarterback last year. It can't. It just cannot. Nope. It was putrid. Okay? I mean, you got Danny DeVito at quarterback, some Daniel Jones. Who else played quarterback?
It'd be DeVito, Jones.
Locke? Drew Lock?
Yeah, big
Drew Lock.
Yeah, he played some games.
What kind of impact is Russ going to have? Why did you use it? Why did you pick this picture? Why did you pick this picture?
I did not pick this picture. But yeah, I mean, Russ, the thing with Russ is, can he be good enough to win games? And I think the problem with having Russ at quarterback is that this defense is going to need to be very, very good. Like, very good.
I think the Giants defense is going to, when you've got four dogs up front, and they've got talent on the back end. I continue to talk about Andrew Phillips. They've got talent on the back end. Young talent. I'm not saying it's the damn no-fly zone back there, but when you've got four dogs that can make life hell for an opposing front, you're probably going to find some success. We got to see it all pull together. But I think defensively, the Giants are going to be a lot better this year.
And that's what it's going to come down to, right? You need him to play like we saw in Pittsburgh to some extent. Lean on the defense, protect the ball, score, 20 to 25 points a game, and let's see where that leaves us. Now, the issue is he's got to play in the NFC East, and I believe they also play the AFC West as well as their cross-conference rivals. So it's like the schedule is going to be brutal for the Giants, and we've talked about this almost feels like every week.
Yeah, it's a rough schedule, man.
Russ should have an impact that hopefully solidifies the QB room, brings the team together, and can get them off on the right foot. Now, what happens mid-season and kind of as they start to stack those losses that we expect early in the year, that's a different conversation. And that's where it's like, I think is the best part about his impact is it will bring the team together and provide some leadership that maybe Russell Wilson's a little bit quirky, a little bit weird, and does some odd stuff, but I think he is a leader in the locker room this team has desperately needed for years, right? They have it on defense, but they needed someone on offense, and that pair of Jameis and Russ will be good for the team, but it doesn't mean I'm going to put them very high on the impact list for these players.
All right. I think we're all in agreement. Geno Smith,
Fields, Rodgers, Jones, Russ, Darnold.
I don't know about. I think Jimbo said in the chat earlier, I got to see what that Jets offense talking about. Like, I don't know what to expect out of that. I'm reading the beat reporters, and they're just going to throw the ball to Garrett Wilson every time. Throw the ball to Garrett Wilson, run the ball with Breece Hall, run the ball with Justin Fields. I don't know, man. I want to see what Aaron Glenn's OC is going to do. That Fields this is third stop, right? This is third stop. A lot of these quarterbacks, this is their second, third, fourth stops.
Would you give him third stop? It feels unfair.
How's it unfair?
Because he got benched for winning games in Pittsburgh, but for Russ, like, he didn't play badly on Pittsburgh.
That's an interesting. Why did they bench him? Why did they bench him?
Because they brought in Russ, right? He wasn't great, but by the time I think they lost the last 4 games of the season, anyways, with Russ at the helm, and they never went back to Fields. He started out hot. He played reasonably well. They won games and they benched him.
Daniel Perry says, GMGP fam, I'd rather have Russ over Rodgers, but I would prefer Fields over Wilson for the Giants. At least we have Dart to fall back on. So,
yeah,
a little bit of Russ love there. All right, let's talk about this this comment, JRich. And there's a lot of people trying to figure out who the one is going to be in this offense. And everyone's got a different take for a variety of different reasons. But I just want to give you a quote from one of the receivers on this team himself. JRich Rice was at a camp, youth camp over the weekend, and per KPRC2's Aaron Wilson, this was JRich Rice's comments on the wide receiver group. We've got a lot of guys. We are in depth. That's what he said. We are deep in depth, Rice said Saturday. Wide receiver group, we're going to be explosive this year. We're just excited to put on a show, to be honest. We know it's going to be a show. The only thing in our way right now is time, so we're just patiently waiting. Now, Jay, last year in 2024, JRich Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy did not play one time together as a trio all season. So Rice is working his way back from knee injury. Xavier Worthy is coming off his playoff run was great. I mean, his final game in the Super Bowl, I think he had 2 touchdowns, 160 yards receiving. He was absolutely fed weeks 11 through 17 as the Chiefs' primary target earner. And then Hollywood Brown didn't do much, missed the first 15 games. I believe it was a shoulder injury in the offseason, so he missed pretty much the entire season, came back late, didn't do much. JRich Rice, we remember how much he was scoring, like the fantasy points. Those first 3 weeks, I mean, he was scoring us a lot of fantasy points. Scott and I were talking last night. I just went and looked. I was like, man, it feels like the way that I remember Rice's first 3 games was like he had like 15 targets a game. It was like Puka Nacua level usage. And then I went to look, and I'm like, he had that week 3, he got fed. It was like 14 targets, 12 receptions.
110 touchdown.
But before that, it was good usage, but it wasn't like he didn't get 10 targets. He didn't have any 9-target games in there. Are we sure, Jordan Richards, are you confident and sure that this offense will run through JRich Rice? Because I'm not. I'm looking at I'm looking at how Kansas City utilized Xavier Worthy towards the end of the season. He was fed. I mean, just like JRich Rice had that 14. Xavier Worthy had multi 10-plus target games towards the end of the season. In the Super Bowl, when they needed him most, he was their primary go-to. I don't think there's any pulling that back in. They're not going to reel that back in. Yeah. So my question to you is, how does this offense run, operate, and look in 2025 with I don't want to say a vulnerable Chiefs team at all, but in a division that seems like it's getting better, right? There's some other talent in the AFC East that has continued to grow, but what does this receiving room look like? Because, Rice is saying we're going to be explosive. I want to know from you, how does this thing really operate in 25?
Well, it'll be interesting because I think Hollywood is kind of the X factor here. Is how much is he going to be involved in this team? Because you have Worthy, who can stretch the field and even showed he was great in short areas as well. Rice is great in short areas and getting yards after the catch. And how does Hollywood all fit in? We know Kelsey is going to be involved, hopefully sparingly, depending on what they decide to do offensively, because they're probably not going to need him a whole lot. But the number one question, Ray, is Patrick Mahomes going to throw the ball down the field? That's what we've been wondering and asking ourselves is, why doesn't Patrick Mahomes throw the ball down the field more? Maybe it's the way they're playing him. Maybe it's stylistically they're just playing differently. Obviously, since they've lost Tyreek Hill, they've changed the way the offense operates. And even their final year with Tyreek Hill, they didn't throw the ball downfield as much. But the concerning thing is that his first 4 years, his yards per attempt was 8.1. His air yards per attempt in the 3 years he started was 8.89 at the lowest, 8.94, and 9.58 in his very first season. The last 2 years in Kansas City, his air yards per attempt are 6.86 and 6.8.
Yeah, I mean, it's low. It's low.
It's a big difference, right?
It's low.
And when you're talking about 500, 600 pass attempts, it makes a big difference. And so unless they're going to change the way they play, which over the past 2 seasons has been short, intermediate only, and not as much explosion, Xavier Worthy will help that, maybe bring that air yards per attempt up a little bit. but I do think it's going to be the Rashee Rice show for that very reason. Stylistically, the way they've played over the past 2 years and the way I would project them coming into this season, it would be the exact same. You're not going to go all the way back to 2018 when he's throwing 9.58 air yards per attempt in 2025. You're just not going to do that. So I think it will be Rice. May not be by as much as some people project, but I do expect Rice to be the number 1 target and get a lot of targets in this offense.
Yeah, I'm reading the comments. I don't agree with some of the stuff that's said. You know, I love Brooks, but this comment that they don't, like, how do we know this? You know, that was out of necessity. That's not the role they want Worthy in. How can we say that? Like, he's a first fucking round pick. Like, look, how do you know? How do we know that's not the role they want Worthy in? It's almost like, I think Worthy's first 3 games, when Rashee Rice had 9, 14, and 6 targets or 7 targets, Worthy didn't do much, right? He had like 4 targets. He was skinny, games, rookie right? Wide receiver, first month of the season. I'm just not buying that they get to the end and they're like, oh, we don't want him to do this. They absolutely did. And he did it, and he thrived in that role. The revisionist history that we have in this space is hilarious to me. Because going in to this past season, there was still a lot of skepticism on Rashee Rice. A lot of skepticism. Yeah. I'm just OGQ. I read and see it all. JRich, I read and see it all. People might sit up here today and be like, oh yeah, I'm all in. There was a lot of skepticism on Rashee Rice going into 2024. And then he came out and scored a bunch of fantasy points. So people are like, oh yeah. But for 14, 15, 16 weeks, this is how I know people didn't play sports. You think the shit that they did for 16 weeks in the NFL season, they're going to watch what X Worthy did and said, we don't want him doing that in 2025. Are you out of your damn minds? Like, honestly, are you insane? Are you just that stuck in your prior belief that you really think this NFL team is going to watch what that rookie first-round receiver did for 16 weeks, right? Towards the end of the season, playoffs included, and say we ain't going to do none of that in 25. Come on, man. What are we talking about? I'm not saying that Rice won't be the one or that Worthy will be. But to sit here and say that I don't think they want him to do that in 2025, I'm not buying that, Jay.
Well, Ray, I always come back to this because I feel like we talk about it all the time, but people kind of forget what Tyreek Hill's last season was in Kansas City. And that to me is the role they've been trying to fill for like the last 3 years. And for people who don't remember it, you know, his first couple years in Kansas City, he was over 14 yards per reception. But that 2021 year, his last year in Kansas City, he was only at 11.2. But he had 160 targets, caught 111 passes, and only had 1,239 yards, but 9 touchdowns. And then you compare that to what Worthy did. You know, Worthy at 10.8 per reception, 6 touchdowns last season with 98 targets, 59 receptions. Now, I don't think he's going to get 159 targets, but in the way they use Tyreek Hill and his speed and in the short and intermediate, like, that's how they can utilize Xavier Worthy, and he'll find similar success. The question really is, how much volume would you give him? Can he hit that 130 target threshold? Because then he's probably a 1,000-yard receiver with 8 to 9 touchdowns and probably a little bit more potentially if they decide to get more creative with him in the red zone, which they've shown the ability to do. So that's where it's like, you can't just look at what he did in the playoffs and say he can be that versus, you know, early in the season. It's a mix of both. But I do think that 2021 Tyreek Hill season where they used him short and close and used his speed after the catch rather than just using him down the field was a big thing for them. And that was the first of their two championships, right? Or maybe they didn't win that year.
I think that,
that was 2021. Because then he left, and then they won. So they almost got there. But that's how they're going to utilize Worthy. You want him to get 130 targets, probably have 1,000 yards, and pray he gets double-digit touchdowns. Is I think what a great outcome for him would be. I think it'd be a great outcome.
Yeah, it's listen, I think both are going to be good. I think both are going to be good. But it's just it's funny how I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to watch what he was able to do. How he opened up that offense doesn't. Like, Worthy fucking saved him, man. I mean, he was out there doing, like, if not for Worthy, I don't know where they would have gone, right? I don't know what they would have done. And it's just, they're not going to put that back in the bottle. If anything, he's only going to continue to grow, be given more responsibility in that offense. And I think it's going to be a figuring it out thing with Rice and Worthy, but it'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch. Rashee Rice is obviously excited about that. And all the beat reporters from Kansas City that I've read, the videos that I watch, Worthy looks good. Rice is working his way back. You still got Juju there, a lot of the same characters. So I think it's going to be a lot of the same. And in the same way we can say, oh, they don't really want him to do that, I can also say, well, they probably didn't want Rice doing all of that, but they had nobody else at the time. Why can't it be? It can't be one or the, it's not, there's two sides of this coin. At the first couple of weeks, Worthy was figuring it out, skinny little rookie. How do we know they want to throw the ball to Rice 15 times a game? They probably don't. They probably want some of those explosives down the field. Going to be a fun offense to watch. Another year two wide receiver, Jay, who was very critical on his own play. We've talked about this player on the show and what we think his second-year outlook might look like. But Buffalo Bills wide receiver Keon Coleman had harsh criticism for himself for his 2024 play. In quotes, "You want to know exactly what I see when I see that ish trash? You got to be better. Simple as that." Coleman said, of all the curse words, I didn't want to say shit. Coleman said of his thoughts looking back on his tape from his first year in the league. You got to be more efficient here. You got to get out of your break. You got to stack your DB. You have to give Josh more room to throw the ball. You got to catch it. You got to make that block. You got to get extra effort on the touchdown block so James Cook breaks it up the sideline. Just different things like that. Calling out everything that you're doing wrong to make it right. So a part of me is like, I like this, right? Keon Coleman recognizes he must play better in this offense. This is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, and he was drafted. A lot of people forget he's damn near first-round pick, JRich. He was the top of the second round. You know, the end of that draft or the end of the first round leading into the second round of 2024 is like receivers. You had Worthy, Pearsall, Leggett, Keon Coleman, all kind of in that cluster. What are your thoughts on Keon's harsh criticism of himself, and do you think he can actually step it up this year and be a go-to wide receiver and a primary option for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills?
Well, I think that's really the question, right? Is, you know, it's one of those things where he didn't play very well. He knows that he needs to be better, and it sounds great to hear him say that. You just hope it translates in the weight room, in training camp, and ultimately on the field, because the Buffalo Bills are going to need him, right? They drafted him pretty high in the second round, and he should be the red zone target go-to guy on the outside for the Buffalo Bills offense. We know they have plenty of playmakers that can operate inside, but they do need someone that can help Josh Allen out outside and to some extent bail him out when things go wrong offensively. So, I mean, it's great to hear him say these things, but it needs to happen on the field, right? And I do think he can be better in year two. I don't know if I'm sold on Coleman yet, but I think he can be better, and at least he's not overconfident in the way that he played last season and knows that he can be a much better player than he was in year one. So that is good, but we just hope it translates on the field. Do you think that Coleman can be good enough to where maybe you say, like, he can be George Pickens for this Buffalo offense?
After Scott Connor ripped him to shreds last night on Destination Chill, I'm a little skeptical on that outlook, JRich. We walked through his usage, like the beginning of the season versus the end of the season, and how it went down. And we're like, well, maybe Josh Allen's play was still elite, and they just pulled work away from Keon Coleman. He's got to be better. He's absolutely right. He's self-aware. I love that. But like you said, actions. I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day, right? I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day. So get out there and play, do it, make it happen. Let's go to the X, a little hype machine, JRich. Let's go to the X and round out the show. A little Twitter hype. Got to go look camp hype. First and foremost, the Ravens. Their mini camp starts tomorrow. JRich, you know it ain't going to be a damn wake up show without some Ravens talk. The Baltimore Ravens open up their mandatory mini camp tomorrow. Are you excited, JRich?
Not really. Who am I excited for, right? We know
Lamar.
who's on this team.
Lamar Jackson.
What's Lamar? Lamar's going to do his thing out there. I'm not worried about Lamar. I'm more worried about that offense, right? They're going to have the playmakers for Lamar this season to really make a run and beat the Buffalo Bills is the question. They got Hopkins. We're going to see how he looks. They got new deal Shoddy B out there. They got your boy Zay Flowers.
I got one for you. Check this video out. He's looking thick out here,
Who's looking
JRich.
thick?
Marvin Harrison.
Oh, I thought we were going to
Maserati
see
Marv
Debo
running
Samuel
those
clip.
speed outs in minicamp.
good.
He's looking good. Are you
Looking good.
feeling a little better about Marv? You see this clip right here? You like that out route?
I do like. I mean, he's a good route runner. It's just, is it going to translate on the field? And is Kyler going to throw him the ball? Right? Like that's the funny part. Is it really going to happen for him this year? You know, it's like we said with Keon Coleman. Good job, Marv. You got stronger. You got bigger triceps. Like, good for you, man. But like, play better on the field. Like that's all we care about. We don't care if you're stronger. We don't care if you're faster. We don't care if you lost weight, gained weight. Just play better on the field. Just play better on the field. But
Your
yeah,
boy, last one. Your boy, Dylan Gabriel.
It's got to be a pick because
He was getting those first team reps. Got Njoku out there and just got to dirt it in the ground. What are your thoughts about this QB room, JRich? Shador is getting pumped up by the high heavens from everyone. Dylan Gabriel there, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco. We still with the same depth chart. Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, Shador.
I mean, I have no idea what the depth chart is, but yeah, I mean, Dylan Gabriel getting some first team reps. Thank goodness, because he probably deserves it.
You love Dylan Gabriel. You hate the fact that Cleveland media pumps up Shador and doesn't give Gabriel any love.
Yeah, I think it's unfair. I think that Dylan Gabriel got absolutely screwed, and I think it sucks. Like, is he the best quarterback ever? No. But, like, he got totally screwed in this whole situation. They brought in Flacco. They traded for Pickett. Then they draft him just to draft a player who's probably better than him a few rounds later. He got completely screwed. It sucks.
All right, we're going off the rails a little bit because I saw a comment in here. People are getting on old Debo Samuel. Did you see the Debo clip from last week?
I know we got tagged in it.
Did you?
I think Adam tagged us in it.
Let me put the Debo clip up. Everybody's talking about old Debo, man. He looks fine to me. What are we talking?
No, he doesn't, Ray. He doesn't.
He looks fine to me. What are you talking about?
This guy just looks like he came off a 1-month bender in Mexico, and all he did was eat tacos and drink the whole time. Like, he looks huge. Don't tell me he doesn't look huge. Debo is he's a
thick player.
In general.
He's a big player.
He don't look fast.
He doesn't. Stop
big.
it. Stop.
He
looks
don't look
fine,
that
Jay.
fast.
They're walking. It's walkthroughs.
Is he walking?
Jay.
He's maybe not full sprinting, but I don't know if it looks a little concerning. This is your boy. You think Debo Samuel is going to save this offense, make them
wait a minute?
better than they were before?
I never ever said he's going to save the offense. Stop putting. Why are you lying to the people? I never said he's going to save the offense. I said he's going to return better than wide receiver 48 prices. That's what I said.
Does this look like better than wide receiver 48 prices? You paying wide receiver 48 prices for that?
Hit the music, man. I never said he was going. How's he going to save the Commanders? They're a good team already. I never said that.
Look.
Thank you, Kevin. He said he's not jogging, he's yogging. I mean, he's just Mr. London. He looked out of breath on one route. Y'all need to go. Stop. You started the show off.
He's working back. He's got to get back in shape. It's okay. We'll get there.
He's a big player. He's literally a big player, man.
But he better not look that way in training camp because we got, what, a month? At least a month. Probably 5 weeks to, get back
Angel
in
said
shape.
de-bloated. Kick Angel out of de-bloated. Y'all need to get the hell out of here. And thank you, D-Bro. D-Bro said he's not running full speed. Come on, people.
I'm not saying he's running full speed, but he looked a little,
Jay, get us out of the show. Get us out of the show.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Don't know what we're doing on Wednesday, but we will figure it out. But thank you to everybody because it is a slow time. We love the energy. We love the comments. And most importantly, we love all of you who tap in each and every single show. I can't stand the chat, man. I can't stand it. I can't stand the chat. I'm not wishing them well. I wish them no GMGP. They talk shit to start the show. They give us hell at the end of the show. I've got no GMGPs for any of them today, JRich. So you just get us out of here and we'll try again on Wednesday. I got nothing for them. I've got nothing for the chat today. Thank you everybody for tapping in. Like, subscribe, and comment. Check out all the new content on DDFFB and subscribe over there. We will be on Bleach Report again on Thursday. We talked about head coaching firings last week. Check it out. It's in the playlist here on this channel. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday. We're out. Peace.